So the question is from one of you. We heard this morning the report on the news that rising inequality in Britain puts us as the second most unequal country in the world, behind only the United States. What concrete policies does your party have to address this and to reduce inequality in this country? So let's start with Faye. I'd forgotten that.
That's okay. I think the key thing the Conservative Party brings to addressing inequality is actually wanting everybody to be able to be given an equal chance, whether that be education, access to the jobs market.
Can we please listen and little bit of civility, please?
So, whether that be education, access to the jobs market, it's not about saying this is what you were born with and this is all you get. It's about saying this is what you start with. These are the tools that can give you everything you need to build to be whatever you want to be. Now, that to me is about what will build equality. What we need to do is deliver Brexit so that we can actually get on with delivering some of the policies that can address that. I think there are things that need to be done around education. There's a lot that needs to be done around funding of further education and apprenticeships and routes to work, or retraining for adults who want to do something different. So addressing inequality is actually about saying to people, what do you want? What help do you need to get there? And let's work that path so that you can do everything that you have the ability, the want, and the desire to achieve. And that is what being a Conservative is to me, and that's what my party will do.
Thank you. Can I go to Caroline? Caroline?
So I also read this report, and one of the things that struck me in the report was that we now have chief executives in this country who are being paid 145 times the salary of the lowest paid worker in their businesses. Now, to me, I don't know how anybody could justify paying themselves 145 times what the lowest paid worker in their company gets paid, because in most businesses, everybody is important, from the cleaner to the receptionist to the person packing the parcels to the person sending them out to the customer services person on the phone. Whatever it is you're making or selling, all these people contribute to a successful business. And I think that is absolutely abhorrent. But in terms of policies, education is absolutely fundamental to the Liberal Democrats, which is why we introduced the pupil premium, which gives money to all children from disadvantaged backgrounds in every school across the country to try and give them a fair start in education. I think universal credit is an absolute outrage, and the fact that the Conservatives removed so much money from universal credit after the 2015 election has meant that people have had, 5, 6, 7 week wait before they get any benefits at all, and that absolutely has to change, and it ought to change tomorrow. It's a shame on our country. And mental health, I think we need a massive investment in mental health so that people with mental health problems can get seen right at the beginning when they're showing the first signs of a problem. So when there's the first signs of a bit of depression or anxiety, they can get some help, rather than waiting until they're suicidal to be able to get help on the NHS.
Thank you.
But I think there are certainly inequalities in the NHS. Bevan's vision was nobody should be denied health because that person couldn't afford it. And that is exactly what is happening now in a growing number of cases. If NICE won't license a particular drug, you have no problem if you can afford to buy it. But if you can't, you do. And if a particular procedure is not available in your local hospital, if you can afford to go to the private sector, you have no problem. But if you can't, you do. And it's those people who can't who are the very people for whom the health service was set up in the first place. And one of the things we have got to face up to in this country is that it was a system designed for a very different set of circumstances, and that if we're to look after everybody, then we have to start a serious debate about how we're going to do that in 20 or 30 years' time, because it's already breaking down now.
Sorry, Molly. Yeah, hurry up. Sorry.
So I think one of the most important things that was said in that report was that inequality is now so serious that it's undermining our democracy and tearing apart the social fabric. We need to address this urgently. And this is why, as the Green Party, we say we don't have to just be tough on Brexit, we have to be tough on the causes of Brexit, because Brexit was an expression of people's lack of hope because of rising inequality and just general unfairness. Now, I think this has arisen because we've been living with an ideology that says markets solve problems and markets are independent. This hasn't worked. We've lived with this ideology for 30 years, 40 years now, and it's not working. It's breaking our country. I think that we have very serious questions around some of the policies that have been introduced. For example, privatisation, which has massively increased the wealth of shareholders but undermined the services that we all depend on. I think we should renationalise public services, get all private sector contracts out of the health service, renationalise the railways, and also end PFI contracts, which are an absolute iniquity. I've already mentioned tax avoidance, but the Green Party is very happy to say that we think richer people should pay more taxes. That's the price you pay to live in a civilised society. We've worked in the European Parliament as Greens to try and have stronger regulation of the financial sector, but all the other groups oppose us in that. We're actually allied with the FT there, and everybody else disagrees, and they want to let the financial sector rip again. It's destabilising and it creates inequality.
Molly,
we also propose a citizen's income, and a maximum pay differential of 10 times between the best paid and worst paid in any company.
Can I say, and can I give you a commitment, that if I'm elected as your MEP, I will fight tooth and nail against Nigel Farage's policy to privatise the National Health Service. I think that is, and it is very important to understand, it is very important to understand that, as Nigel Lawson, the godfather of Brexit, said, after the referendum 3 years ago, Brexit is the opportunity to complete the Thatcher revolution, which is part of the reason why Anne Widdecombe is standing as a candidate for them today, because that is precisely what she wants to do. I do not think we should dismantle the NHS or our public services. I think we should invest in the NHS, have a better NHS, include social care in the NHS at the moment, because at the moment it doesn't, which means old people are vulnerable and alone and not protected. We should have rising school budgets, not falling school budgets. We should be building new social homes, not throwing the homeless onto the street. Then we will be a civilised society.
So I think the comparison with America is a really good one. I've been working in America with street homeless in San Francisco, and if you want to look at inequality and poverty, you only look there. And do you know what? They said it couldn't happen here, but it does, and it has. And coming back to this country with my family last year, I've been shocked at the state of homelessness, of want, of hunger, in a way that I didn't think we would ever see again in this country. So I will give you this commitment, if elected as a Change UK MEP, that me and my colleagues in the European Parliament and Change MPs in Parliament will work across party boundaries with colleagues like Andrew and many others to end this austerity, to end the policies of the Conservatives that have harmed so many people in this country, and to tackle the social divisions, because it's only there that we're going to give everyone the chance to achieve what they can. Thank you.
I think basically it's down to two general areas. One of it is that they don't care, and I don't care if it's Labour, Conservative, again, they all don't care. And the reasons for this is that they will happily have a corporate who will pay the taxes in Ireland or Luxembourg or where else. Now, those taxes don't come back here. So, of course, we don't have an NHS. Of course, we've got potholes in the road because we're letting all our tax money go abroad. Also, an example of job losses, which also puts into it, is when We as a country give money to the EU, they give it to Romania, Romania gives it to Jaguar Land Rover to build a factory in Romania. Of course you're not going to have a job here. And once again, this is a cross-party. It's not Labour, it's not Conservative, it's the lot of them.